Okay. Let's take a trip
Yes.
down memory lane. So picture us back
Mm-hmm.
in Korea, navigating through the whirlwind of teaching English and
Yes.
embracing the culture. Bro, can you share a bit about your experience teaching and what drew you to that adventure? So what drew you to going
So my
to
motivation
Korea
to go to Korea.
specifically?
I mean, to be honest, I
Yeah.
always had the plan after I graduated from university because I didn't want to be like I enjoyed teaching, and that's why I went to
Mhm.
get my license in education. But I knew I wanted to do more than just teach in a classroom and stay in the same state as my parents. You know, I love them, but I am misadventure. I want to go everywhere, experience the world. And so when I was having a really
Yeah.
tough time, because I don't know what was going on in 2020, it could be a lot of factors, but especially where I lived, I applied for a teaching position and like a bunch of school districts, and I was having the worst time in getting my foot in the door. Like,
Mm. I think that's a lot of people's experience,
yes.
especially now. It's so hard to get a job.
And they're,
So
you know,
hard.
they of course they want experience, but you know, my experience was through my student teaching experience, and so I had at least almost an entire
Mhm.
year under my belt. And obviously, I've got certified in my states. Like I am qualified for a position. Clearly, I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
go through 4 years of struggle to not get that qualification, and so I just took that as the motivator to go abroad because one of my mentors back in university told me about how when she was younger and after she got her license, I think she was from Idaho. She was also having the same problems as I did, was just trying to find a position at a school district and also like just wanting to experience the world. And so she actually went to Japan to teach English. And so
Oh, I heard Japan is
yeah,
really tough
well,
too.
especially if you're looking for an apartment, I heard it's pretty tough. And so I was like, well, I always liked Korean culture and Japanese culture because you know I'm a nerd. Fun fact: who's our favorite K-pop group?
Yeah. God
Oh my
Seven is our
gosh,
favorite group. So we definitely bonded
yes,
over that. K-pop was definitely the transition for me, like the foothold for me to kind of decide, oh yeah, maybe I might want to
yeah,
start teaching English because as I said before, originally my major was, well, I got my degree in business. So I wasn't really teaching, but I mean, originally my dream
hmm.
was to teach, but as you get older, your
Yeah,
dreams change and um, they evolve. So it definitely has evolved even
yeah.
since then, right? Because then I started this company and yeah, that's what got me. K-pop originally was what got me to think about teaching English in Korea.
And then
Yeah,
I just did it. I went for it and I applied, and we ended up finding out that we applied through the same company.
which was very crazy, by the way, because it wasn't just us. It was another coworker
Yes.
also. She went through.
We can't say who they are. But I will be honest with you. I was lied to when I applied with this company because in my mind I always knew I wanted to end up in Busan. I'm from a state with a lot of ports, and so we have a lot of water nearby. And so I didn't want to end up in a really big city like Seoul. I knew I could handle a big city, but I wanted some things to be familiar. So I wanted to go to Busan where there's ocean, but there's still like enough of a bigger city vibe without it being overwhelming. And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
I felt the
Didn't you
same
also
way.
apply for Busan too? Uh,
I did. And I wasn't really too interested in going to
yeah.
Seoul. I really just wanted the city life, but without like the
Yes.
city
Yes.
hustle and
And also,
bustle.
like, you're near the
Yeah.
ocean, so it's going to feel cooler because you're going to have more breeze.
Yeah, Busan was definitely like my number one choice, but that didn't end up happening. We ended up actually going to a city close to
Not really
Busan.
close. I think we can say the
Just,
city. We can
I
say the
mean,
city.
it's like an
We can say the
hour.
city. We went to Masan, which if
Okay,
well,
you're gonna say the
we
city,
can't
but
say
we
the
ain't gonna say
school. We
nothing
can't
else.
say that, but we can tell you which city we ended up in. So we ended up in Masan, which
Yeah.
when I interviewed with the school, I asked them. I said, "Oh, it says Masan." I said because when I applied, I told them like, so my degree was in secondary education, which if you don't know what that means, it means I teach middle school and high school English level. So I teach at a really high level for English. And so I told them like, this is what my degree is in. And they sent me the link for the school. And I don't know if you looked at the link, but like there was not a lot of information on there. I was just going with the assurance from the recruiter company that this was a legitimate school. I was like, oh, okay, sure. I asked them, I said, am I going to be teaching older kids? And they said, yeah, there are older kids classes at the school. We spoke to the director. They said that you will be teaching with the older kids. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then when I was like, so they're like, do you want to interview? I said, sure. So I interviewed with the director at that school. And we're going to call him S. Because the director, I think, changed for you, right? You had R.
No, I also talked to S.
So I had S.
Yeah.
And when I interviewed with him, I asked him, I said, okay, because the weird part is I was Googling Masan, South Korea, and it was showing it like, I don't know if you guys look up the map later, it shows it quite too far to the left. Like it's not anywhere near where Busan is. So when I asked the guy, S, I said, how far away is the city from Busan? He goes, oh, it's just like 30 minutes away.
The lies.
He's like, it's 30 minutes outside the city. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, well, that's not bad. Like, I don't mind being on the outskirts of the city. It's going to be a little less overwhelming. But hey, it's near where I wanted to go.
And I mean, it was still a city, but it was just a smaller city. Like, it's definitely the smallest city I've ever been.
For Korea.
I've ever lived. Because remember, I'm from Toronto. So I've already lived in a big city my whole life. So it was definitely a little switch up, but I still was getting semblance of home. I didn't go too far.
So I was like, okay, cool. I said, so am I going to be teaching younger kids? Because I've heard that this happens, that you can end up teaching younger kids. And I was sure, no, I would not be teaching younger kids. I would be teaching like elementary to middle school age. And I was like older elementary, because I'm fine with teaching like 6th to 5th grade range because I still have the certification in that area. But like below that, I don't have any experience and I don't know about my ability with the younger kids because it's a whole other dynamic when you are dealing with young kids. Wow.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, first of all, I knew I was being lied to because when I took a flight, it went from like my city's airport, and then I went to Seoul, and then I transferred to Busan on the flight. And when I got out the airport, first of all, the guy who was there to pick me up was not there.
Same. Okay, and that segues into my story about when I got there. I nearly got scanned by the cab driver because the person that was supposed to pick me up was also not there. The same person.
It was a different person for me.
Oh, it was a different person.
Yeah, they hired a car service to come pick me up because.
Oh, well, the person that was supposed to come pick me up, he was not there, and I just finished traveling 24 hours basically, and I was tired and I wanted to go home. So I got a cab, and this cab driver was going to drive me from Busan to Masan.
And we have established. So, they're not anywhere near each other. Like, no.
Exactly. So that would have been like $100 cab ride. Luckily, he showed up, and then he ended up getting into a thing with the cab driver. It was a whole lot. I was like, oh my gosh, this is real culture shock. I'm stressed. These guys are gonna be fighting. Like, what's happening
Let me tell
here?
you, don't be trusting cab drivers in Korea. That's one rule that we learned.
At all.
If you're going to,
because they will
try because you're a foreigner.
Oh, and also please learn the basics. Please learn the basics of Korean. We definitely learned a lot more Korean when we were living there, which, you know, the immersive thing, like everybody's speaking in Korean, so you kind of have to pick up.
Yes.
You have to pick it up along the way, but definitely don't go there with no basic understanding of Korean.
And
don't do it.
Yeah, no, I think your experience is much worse than mine. I sat in the airport for like almost like 40, almost I can say 50 minutes, close to an hour waiting. And I did not have cell phone service because this was my first time in a foreign country. I did not know you can go get a SIM card at the airport.
Oh yeah, when I got to Incheon, that's in Seoul, I actually got a tourist chip for my phone because I was not about to play these kinds of games.
See, she's better than me. She's better than me. I did not know what to think. I was like,
I needed to call my mom. Like I needed support.
I was stressed out, and thank God the airport had Wi-Fi. Because you know what? It's true. Like the Gimhae airport is like pretty small. It's pretty small. So it's a very small airport.
It's definitely small.
Compared to, of course, the U.S. airports and Canadian airports are a bit bigger. But even I was like, wow, this is a small airport. And then so I'm looking. So I'm texting R, and we'll talk about that person later. I'm texting R. I'm texting one of the girls I connected with from my school. One of the people that R trusted. I end up finding out later, by the way. That's why. Because I was like, why didn't you pair me up with someone else? But whatever. And I was like, where am I supposed to go? I landed. I don't see someone with my name. Because they told me like when I landed, the guy would have my name on his phone. And I looked around all over the place. And I'm like, I'm not seeing this guy. I'm sitting here like I'm walking up and down. And I got like 2 giant suitcases and a duffel bag and my carry-on because I was coming to Korea prepared. I'm like, I don't see the guy. I'm sorry. And they're like, oh, let's call the driver. The driver apparently went to, I don't know what happened. He was late for some reason. Finally, the man shows up, throws my stuff in the car, tries to talk to me in Korean, but I didn't know enough to be able to hold a conversation. So I was just like, he's like trying to like, he's like texting on the phone, trying to translate as he's like driving super fast. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, we are going for a while. I was like, this is not the outskirts of the city. Like, this is weird. And he just keeps driving. I'm trying to like use my phone to track it, but I'm really looking at his map on this phone.
You thought you were getting kidnapped.
I did. I was scared. I was like, this is not like, Busan's not this big. And the guy just freaking, the guy gets to the building, our apartment complex. And he just like, he takes my bags out and he goes, have a good night, and just leaves. He's gone. And I'm like,
yep.
It's like Tempe, it's nighttime. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's going on. Thankfully they sent me some information about where my room is. And so, but the thing is, this building is separated into A and B. But they didn't say that. So they gave me the number of the apartment and which floor it was on. I didn't know there was an A and B side. So I go to the A building, to the second floor, like to where I live. And I try to go up and down the floor. I don't see my number. And then when I get to the apartment, the code's not working. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, okay, but there's this other building. I go down. I go out to the other building. I go and this with all my bags.
With all your bags. Mind you.
And I'm like, okay. First of all, the elevator in our building was the sketchiest freaking elevator. That thing would like snap you. So I get on the elevator, the damn thing snaps closed. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I have to leave my bags downstairs because it's going. And so I go upstairs and I walk down the hallway. But this one, thankfully, our building was a bit less complicated, I think. So I was able to find the door. I type in the code, it works. And then I go in and the light's not working. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. The light's not working. And so I was just like, well, the front light's not working. I mean, the overhead light, like the motion detector light was working, but like I could not turn on the bathroom light, but the power plug-in was still working. So I just I got my stuff in, I plugged in my stuff into the wall, and I just went to sleep. I was like, I'm not having this.
Well, my time was a little bit easier because M was there. So like,
yeah.
it took me right to, well, after the whole cab debacle. That was so crazy. They were literally fighting over
He's
the
trying to
bill.
get his money.
Yeah, but the thing is, I didn't even get that far outside of where the airport is. So like, it's not even.
He's just being messy.
And he was still trying to get the full $100. Yeah. So M started, he was getting real mad, right? This is the first time I'm meeting this guy. So I'm like, oh my gosh, do I have to like call somebody? What's going on? But he got it rectified and he ended up going to the B apartment, and he showed me where I was staying temporarily. I don't know what was going on with that, but I was staying in a temporary apartment because this company, they had bought out like most of the apartments in that building for the foreign staff. So the apartment I was in had no internet. So if I didn't get that chip, I would have been, I don't know what I would have done, honestly, because I can't talk to anybody. I don't know anybody. It's my first time like living alone, first time solo traveling, which is a whole nother story about solo traveling. It was great, but also very stressful when you're traveling alone.
Especially when you're moving.
And then I ended up getting into like my actual apartment. Now I think we should spill the beans. So for those of you who don't know what spill the beans is, it's an idiom that means to tell a secret or share information that was supposed to be shared. It's like accidentally knocking over a jar of beans and revealing what's inside when you weren't supposed to know. So when someone says spill the beans, they're asking you to spill the secret or share the information. In this case, we are going to share the information or give a little gossip about some of the craziest, funniest, or most heartwarming moments from our time teaching abroad.
We can also call it tea time.
Oh yeah, let's get into the tea time.
We're gonna spill the tea. We're gonna have some tea.
You heard it here first. Yeah, because we love to spill tea.
Yes,
and we love to sip tea.
That I think is more of like a newer way of saying spill the beans, but people use it interchangeably. I use spill the beans, or I want some tea. Give me the tea. Get your tea.
Yeah.
Get our tea. Oh, next time. Oh, we should do that next time. We should have tea. It just.
Ooh.
We can get it.
Yeah. In the next episode, we will have our tea on standby to give you guys the tea. So if you see we pull out a tea cup, you know it's tea time. So what is the tea that we are spilling this time around?
What's a good one? There's so much. Should we, since we talked about our apartment, should we spill the beans on the apartment issues themselves?
Oh, let's get into it.
Wow.
Because we were in an apartment that also had businesses. So our bills ended up being a lot. Way more than like a normal apartment building, because we were paying the fees because they would average out.
Yeah.
the fees again of the whole building.
Here I am trying to be conscious of how much electricity I'm using because I'm trying to save money. And then like having my electricity bill.
It was
but
pointless.
This is like, okay, this is the weird part is because my husband and I have talked about this because I've showed him those bills. First of all, I had to demand the school give me all of my bills because they were not giving me my bills or my oh my god, what's the thing called? What's the thing called for your paycheck or your paycheck? Like I was not getting my pay stub. Yeah,
your pay stub. Yeah, we didn't get any
because
of those things.
there are situations in Korea where they will. They will try to scam their own teachers. There's a lot of laws in place, but they're not very good about verifying, especially with individual hagwons, because there's a lot of hagwons in Korea. Like they are everywhere. You will always see an English hagwon, blah, blah, blah. It's obviously more fancy if you have your native speakers there. But these hagwons
I mean, we were the face of the draw.
Remember they advertised our face?
But you wouldn't know that from the teaching staff.
No.
How it was
balanced,
I guess. We could definitely do a second part on like our actual teaching experience in Korea, but this is just an introduction.
We could spill some tea because there's a lot of things that happen. I mean, not to say the entire experience was bad. Of course, it was not bad.
Right? Oh yeah, we loved it. But like when you're going to a place for 5 days a week, you have to kind of weigh the costs and benefits because for the most part, you're spending the most time at your job. So if you don't like your job, it's like it really dampers your experience. But on the weekends, it was great. Great food, great nightlife.
Oh yeah, we had so much fun. When Friday hit, we were out there.
Yeah.
But to rewind, yes. So the problem with the apartment, so not only did we have to share the electricity costs with the businesses below us, but so this is the weird part. So when I finally moved away from that apartment and I actually had like a boss who followed the laws, that was like my third boss. I've had two before that one, and the second one was also absolutely horrible. But my third boss, he was great. Loved him to bits. He was very they would send that pay stub monthly. They let me handle my own bills. This is the part I don't understand. So normally when you are living in an apartment complex, you have a mailbox, and in your mailbox, that is where your bills go.
I didn't even know
we have mailboxes, and typically, as the foreign teacher, even if you're foreign, you pay the bills by yourself. Your school should not be paying your bills, and so that's what I found out was the first thing, because I would get my pay, and so say I was making 2,100 a month. I would get close to 900 and something. So that's almost $200 missing per month, $200 to $300 per month. That's actually a lot. And in our contract, it says that we do not pay for housing because the housing is provided to us by the school. And the only thing that we should be paying are the maintenance fees. So your electricity, your water, your gas, the basic bills, your internet,
and your own personal phone bill and stuff like that. Yeah.
If you're hearing, wow, 200, 300, we're missing a month. Yeah, that's weird. It's not normal. You should be paying at my last place, at my last apartment in the middle of Busan with a crap ton of people living on my floor in my apartment building. I also had businesses beneath me. I did not pay anywhere near the same amount. So I'm going to safely assume that they were stealing money from us. Because first of all, they're not giving us the bills. And when we got the bills, it the breakdown itself didn't really make sense unless the maintenance cost for the building is really high. because I showed them to my husband. He's like, wow, this is like really expensive to live here. Because he's like looking at the electricity bill and he's like, it just seems like there's no way your apartment is making this much electricity cost. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, there's no way this is correct. That's red flag one. But that was also a really hard thing to try to prove because they're not legally obligated to do this. But at the same time, I think they were taking more out than what it was actually owed. We don't know if they were editing it. There's no way we could prove it. It was a connection. So for your own sake, make sure you are paying your bills separately, because don't let your school pay your bills. That is the rule I have learned, because I think we were paying more than what we should have been paying. I think my husband said that he thinks that we were paying for like the empty apartments, because they also had empty apartments that the school had. Because otherwise
they had like 3 floors of apartments, like the complete third level. They had owned all those apartments.
I think they were keeping some of those empty, or they were renting them out at a time to people who need them, because the area we were living in was near a boat area, so they had like a lot of fishermen come in and out. I used to have neighbors in between Arnell and I that were super loud. Thankfully, they moved out, but it's just like transient people lived there. And so they would come and go, not really stay for very long. And so my husband thinks that we were paying for the empty rooms on top of ours, because sometimes the way that the bills showed up, like they would cut off certain areas that we could not read all the way through. I would ask them about some things and they were like, oh, yeah, that's this for this reason. Or like, they tried to say, like, God, when I left, the amount of money they took out of my paycheck for the apartment was ridiculous. I mean, I know I left stuff behind for them to throw away because I just didn't have time to throw it away. Because they give you like literally 2 days to move out. Even then, 2 days sometimes.
See, I don't know anything about that experience, because if you guys don't know.
Oh, yeah.
About my experience, I ended up doing a midnight run. Okay.
What's a midnight run?
Because so a midnight run is when foreign teachers go to Korea, and for whatever reason, they have to just pick up and leave. They leave in the night, basically. Hence midnight run. So I never thought I was going to be a midnight runner, but honestly, the place that me and Ro used to work, the environment was getting so toxic that I just had to, I had to leave, or I was going to end up in jail. And I'm a lover, not a fighter. Okay. So I had to leave literally. Like, I had to get myself together in a week secretly. Okay, it was some secret agent stuff.
Did I ever? You know what? Maybe we should. Okay. To disclose to you all, we will tell this story at a later date, because that in itself is going to be like an hour-long episode.
It's a lot, and we're already pressed for time because we've just been yapping. We've just been talking. So we will definitely save this story for another episode. I mean, you guys can comment and say if you want the episode.
Yeah. You guys just tell us, like, what do you want, and we will do it.
I think we're going to leave this conversation here. As we mentioned before, if you guys want to see another part of this conversation, in particular, you want to get a little bit more tea time, and
subscribe.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that one. Yes, you guys should definitely subscribe to see more of our tea times and other little tidbits that we have to give to you guys. So let's peek into the crystal ball. Where do we see lending language heading in the next few years, considering the twists and turns we've encountered along the way? So what I envision for the Lending Language Lab is basically we'll have a community where we'll have a whole bunch of foreign friends. And you guys can think of us as
Mm.
foreign friends too,
We're
because
your
we're
we're
foreign
your
to
friends.
you. Foreign and a little strange, but we're friends. And the approach that we want to take with this whole community is kind of like we're teaching our
Hmm.
foreign friends. We do have quite a few foreign friends, and I just want to make that very clear that we aren't trying to be the teachers.
It's not the approach.
No, we are trying to be the foreign friends. You know, you guys are getting your tidbits from us, you're learning from our experiences. And yeah, that's what I kind of want our community to move in that kind of direction. How about you?
Yeah, so I agree. We want to have this approach where we are not, you're going to be your teachers because that's a bit boring. And we were teachers before. Like we're
Yeah.
trying to put that aside.
We're transitioning out.
We're here to teach English in a fun and a unique way that's not going to have you stuck in the classroom doing writing practice, speaking practice, like talking in a robotic voice. Like that's not realistic at all. That's not our goal where we're heading in the future. And we just hope you guys want to stick along for the ride and be a part of this community. We love it, if you will. Forever stay with us. Forever.
Forever. So we're going to wrap things up here. If you guys want to get in contact with us, the easiest way is to follow us on all our social media. It's at Lending Language platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, we're on it. And if you want more goodies, you can also go to our website where we have begun our blog. More info on that coming soon. The custom worksheets also have a home there, and any other future podcast episodes will reside there as well. Okay, do you have any other thoughts and
I'm
things
just
to
thinking we
add?
can end it with, I'm Arnell, and I'm Rosalie.
So,
No, but it's a
I don't even
proper
want
way
to end
to
it like
end
something
it.
like, come.
Just say, I'm Arnell, I'm Rosalie.
Okay,
Come on. I'm Rosalie.
I'm Arnell.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.